This is Free Fallin' by Tom Petty. And the first thing we're going to do is go over the chords you're going to need to use to play the song. Those being D, A suspended 4, G5, and D suspended 4. Now if you already know these chords, you can skip this part of the video and just move on to the part where I do the chords in sequence and show you how to play along. If not, here they are. And by the way, we're doing them in the open possession, even though Tom Petty uses a capo, because I want you to be able to learn these chords and apply them to other songs instead of just learning them up here and only being able to play Free Fallin'. You'll be able to learn them in open position and then apply them to other songs as well. So let's start with D. That's the first chord of the song. The way you play that is you start with your first finger on the 2nd fret on the 3rd string. Then you're going to bring your 3rd finger to the 3rd fret on the 2nd string, and then your 2nd finger to the 2nd fret on the 1st string. And then we're also going to play the open 4th string, the D note, along with it. And it's going to sound something like this. The next chord is a D suspended 4 chord. To create that one, all you need to do is get your pinky, slip it under here to the 3rd fret on the 1st string, and voila, we have our D suspended 4. So far we have D, add your pinky in there, D suspended 4. Then we're going to use the A suspended 4 chord, and to create that one we just move your 1st and 2nd fingers over to the 2nd fret on the 4th string and the 2nd fret on the 3rd string. And along with those, we're going to strum the open 5th string. Should sound something like that. So far we've got D, D suspended 4, and A suspended 4. The 4th chord you're going to need to know for the song is the G5 chord. And the key to that one is using these 2 fingers as if they were one unit, that being your 3rd and pinky. Each one of them is going to go on the 3rd fret, 3rd finger on the 2nd string, pinky on the 1st string. Then we're going to bring our 1st finger over here to the 2nd fret on the 5th string, and then 2nd finger to the 3rd fret on the 6th string, and it's going to sound something like this. And that's the chord we're going to use once the song gets going and the drums come in. And when you put it all together, it's going to sound something like this. So those are the chords you're going to need to know. Practice them hard if you need a diagram or a chart for them. Mike has a great chord tutorial video where you can learn the chords with the diagrams as well, and he goes over them a little more in depth than I just did here. So you can either rewind the video and look at this again, or just check out the other rock guitar power videos. Now that we've learned the chords that we're going to need to play the song, we're going to put a capo, one of these little doodads, on the 3rd fret, and what that does is it changes the pitch of the strings so that when you play the same chord shape that you already know, it sounds a little bit higher. And we're going to use all the same chord shapes that we just learned, except now they're all going to be with your 1st finger rooted up on the 5th fret. And when you change the chords to this song, you might as well keep your 3rd finger anchored up here on the 6th fret. Pretend it's glued to the guitar, because it's common to all the chords. See how it stays here when we move to A suspended 4? Stays here when we move to G5. And that'll give you some leverage to switch from chord to chord. It's a lot easier than going something like this. See how awkward that looks? You definitely don't want to approach it like that. Okay, and here's the order that the chords occur in the song. It's going to start with a D, then D suspended 4, strummed twice, back to D, then to A suspended 4. Again, that's D, D suspended 4, twice, back to D, to A suspended 4. And that's for the verse. Once the song really gets going, you're going to want a chord that sounds a little bit deeper with a little bit of bass in it for the strum, which we'll get to later. We're going to get to the strum in the next section of the video, but for now we're just going over the chords. And it'll give it a little more depth. And what I did there is I just replaced the D suspended second chord with the G5. So it's going to look like this. D, G5, strum twice, back to D, to A suspended 4. So if you can do that, here it is again. D, G5, strum twice, D, A suspended 4. So if you can do that, you'll do a real good job of playing along with the song. So what I'm going to do now is start the music, and we're just going to strum one time each chord as we go along with it, and then the next section we're going to learn the strum to the song. Okay, the strum to the song is going to go something like this. Here it is up to speed, and then we'll slow it down and learn it stroke for stroke. And before we begin learning the strokes, I'd just like to say that you want to keep your picking style very smooth for this song so that it sounds nice and mellow. If you chop away at the strings like this, it's going to sound pretty abrasive. So you want to keep it a light strum on the strings and a very fluid movement with your right hand. So here it is slow. We're going to do a downstroke followed by an up, down, up. For the first chord. Then we're going to change chords. Up, down, down, up, down, up. Up, down, down, up, down, up. So far we have this. And you don't necessarily have to make it that strict. You can actually throw an extra strum or two in there if you want. I kind of did that the third time around. As long as the downbeats or the accentuated chords have a little bit of an accentuated strum, so that the listener can hear the chord change clearly. And this kind of chord strum is actually easier heard and played by ear than it is analyzed and broken down into every little up strum and down strum. So if you can kind of coordinate what you hear inside your ears or inside your brain to have it transferred to your hand, then you're going to be a lot better off when you do this change. So here it is again. And you see there, as you heard the chords being switched, the strum was accentuated on the chord change. Now in a minute we're going to get to a more wide shot with the camera where you can actually see my fretting hand, my left hand, change in coordination with my right strumming hand. But for now I want you to really focus on the right hand and get a feel for what I'm doing there. So we're going to have a D chord, smooth transition back, accentuate A suspended 4. And notice how I accent the chord changes, and my hand moves very fluidly. Okay, now that you can see both of my hands, we're going to take a look at what it looks like to change the chords and strum at the same time. Hopefully you can see my fingers over here and my hand here moving in synchronicity. So I switch, accentuate, little strokes, accentuate. Main chord, accentuate the change, accentuate the change. So we have powerful strums, little filler strums, very smoothly, accentuate the changes. Same is true when we go to the G5 chord. It's just going to sound a little thicker. Okay, now we're going to put what we've learned so far, the chord changes and the strum, along with the music. And what we're going to do here is play along with probably a little bit of the first verse in the intro. And then we're going to move along to the finer points of the song, those being the interlude and some of the fills. There we have it, a little bit of the strum, chord changes, and music all put together. Okay, there's a short bridge or interlude, if you will, to the song, and that goes something like this. I'll play it along with the music once here so you can see how it fits in, and then we're going to go over it note by note. Once again, this is a great one for beginners because you can actually do it with one finger. It's done on electric guitar, not acoustic guitar, so there's a little more depth to it with an electric guitar sound. And it almost sounds like they overdubbed a guitar in there and they're kind of playing some chords too. But for all practical purposes, if you are playing an acoustic guitar and you want to combine it in with the capoed stuff we did earlier, it sounds great just with one finger on the time. So again, we have 8th fret 3 times, 6 here on 13th, back here for 2, and 5 on the 15th fret. Now there's a short guitar fill in here that's really good to learn if you're a beginner. It's real simple. It goes something like this. And it happens twice. I'm going to play it along with the music so you can see exactly where it is. Now the way we play this one is we start with our 3rd finger on the 7th fret on the 4th string. Pick that one twice, move to 1st finger 5th fret, also on the 4th string. And then we go to the open string, which is going to be open because of our capo, back to 5th fret, and then back to open. So we got here it is one more time with the music so you can see it all put together. So there's that fill. It's real easy. I hope you have fun with it. Now if you're a little more ambitious, there is a second part to this song, a second guitar part that is a little bit more difficult, but it fits in quite nicely and it really creates a nice acoustic texture to the song. It looks something like this. And broken down, this is an E chord, which is basically second and third finger working as one unit on the fifth and fourth strings, second fret, and first finger on first fret of the third string. All the strings are going to be strummed. To an E suspended 4 chord, which is your pinky on the third fret. And when I'm referring to all the frets here, I'm referring to the frets beyond the capo. The capo happens to be on the first fret in this case. Then we go back, just as we did with the chord changes earlier. And then we're going to use our third finger to slide up here to 5th fret. Pinky comes down, third string, 5th fret, and first finger comes along here to 3rd fret, 5th string, to create a B suspended 4. So our 3 chords are going to be E suspended 4, and B suspended 4. So you can see how both guitar parts put together can sound pretty nice.